Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Music City Surrey Showcase, where we showcase talent in Surrey. So this next artist is actually very well known by the city of Surrey already. I believe that there have been many performances and many awards galas in his past, present, and I'm sure future. And on another episode of It's a Small World After All, we all seem to know each other once again. So please welcome Richard TICHELMAN to the studio. Hey Richard, how are you?
I'm doing well, Keely. How are you?
I'm great. We've known each other for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
Like we go back
Yeah. High
to
school?
high school days for sure with the
My
music
God.
scene. And even I think I was telling you before the interview started, even then you were just such an exuberant performer already. So where did that initial joy for music come from?
I think when I recognized that I had tried every sport like in the book, and I had tried dancing, and then I tried singing, and miraculously it made me feel something that nothing else did. So I feel like I really just sought out opportunities in whatever way I could after that. And still to this day, it just feels different from anything else I do. And I just seek out opportunities to chase that feeling. So
Yeah, and the opportunities for you are not few and far between. Like I think we met at a talent competition way back in 2015 or something like that.
yeah.
And then you've, like I said, performed at Surrey Arts and Business Awards and been a recipient of awards. Like how has your path in the industry kind of evolved since you started in music?
Um, it's evolved like out of BC and kind of grown a little bit, but something that's been a key component of it is Surrey, because Surrey's granted me so many opportunities to exercise my craft, to sit in that room and have an hour set and learn how to banter with people instead of just be like, another song, I guess.
Yeah.
And they've really been instrumental in the crafting of Richard Tichelman, the musician, and they've always been that step that's helped me reach that higher ground. Yeah, it just gave me opportunities to improve myself, not only as a musician but a business. When there's a stream flowing, immediately there's something that you can kind of make out of it and sustain.
Yeah. Do you feel like you've already been through a bunch of different iterations of that brand already?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I feel them all kind of coming together now, though, which is
Nice.
a really interesting part. I feel all the different shorelines and the value of each side of where I've been. So,
Tell me a bit about the sides.
I mean, like if we go way back to like Gambling Man and whatnot,
Yeah.
that was a really fun, organic, like that was my youth, right? And that was me learning how to find my voice, learning how to find, like, in what way do I say I love you? Because like we all write that song, but like we all write it a little differently, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like it's just finding like, how do I write about my family? How do I write about my problems? And I had a lot of family. I had a lot of problems, and I had a lot to write about. And I love looking back at how I articulated it. And it had a folk kind of side to it. It had a very just like a kind of rock essence to it. And then I hit my 20s and I love to dance. And I wanted to hear that in my music. What would that sound like? So then all of a sudden, all this music started getting a little bit more of an 808, a little bit more of a click, something to kind of
Yeah.
exercise that two step. And I loved that. And that had a very like clean cut, fresh appeal. And then COVID happened. And then I couldn't really be in studios with people all the time. And then I couldn't really be doing all this stuff in the way I was before. So I couldn't help but change. And I picked up my acoustic, and I learned how to play all that pop on my acoustic. And that's been the spearhead of what's kind of coming back together. Like it's this guitar is what wrote all those songs back then. And it's what's creating a lot of them, if not all of them now. So
So it's a full circle moment.
yeah, it
Yeah.
feels nice. It feels nice.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So and your environment, I know we've got a lot of shared kind of kind of passions and shared kind of like, this is what helped develop us as artists. I know that you've got a really supportive family, and I did too, through music. What was it like to have that backbone through these different phases and all of this development?
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly amazing. The older I get, at the ripe old age of 24, the more I realize that having that kind of family around you that is so supportive of a dream, let alone like of being a musician, that like that's not super common. And I feel like the older I get, the more grateful I am, because they have been so instrumental in either, if there's something that came up in the business when I was young and I wasn't really thinking of it like a business, they taught me how to look at it through that lens. And like they were always that it's okay to like check yourself, and like if somebody gave you a contract, let's afford a lawyer, right? Like
Yeah.
they always encouraged that. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to be a beginner, because like that's the stage you're at, and enjoy it, because there's no wrong questions,
Yeah.
right? There's nothing wrong with it, and like they've always supported that. I feel like I'm just bumbling on, but like
Yeah.
they're so instrumental and in keeping me
Yeah.
going and in inspiring me. They're always doing something that makes me feel like anything's possible. So
And you're right. It's okay to be a beginner. It's also okay to make mistakes too, and
yeah.
to learn from things. Like, I think a lot of people see the glamorous artist lifestyle and they don't see the behind the scenes of what it takes to make that artist, because you're right, it is a business. And I'm sure through your ripe old age of 24 and like your wealth of the years behind you, and that's like in all seriousness, because I know that you've been actually doing this and treating it as a business for years and years and years now, almost a decade if not longer than that. Like, what have you kind of learned from the business side?
It doesn't work unless you do.
Yeah.
It's something that requires a lot of care and attention, whether that's like maintaining personal relationships, maintaining a healthy team around you that believe in the product, they believe in the process, they believe in the artist. I've gone through a few different kind of like teams and team members and whatnot, and like that's serviced me lessons upon lessons. And yeah, but I feel like the business side of it has been just valuable to learn what everybody's role is, what they do, because at some point, if you're independent, like you're every role,
Yeah.
right? Like you occupy every one of those chairs until you sign it off to somebody else. But through my eyes, I sure as hell want to know what that person's doing so that I can be a better teammate to them. Because if I sit down and I'm like, all right, what do you need from me again? Right? It's like, then we're starting that
Yeah.
conversation from the beginning. But
Yeah, it's knowing what you're doing because it's your art, and then it's also knowing that you're signing it off to the right person, and just because the right person works for somebody else doesn't mean they're the right fit for you, right?
exactly, yeah.
So there's been a lot of learning and growth, I guess, for you. But now, what's happening when we look towards the future? Do you have releases on the horizon, shows to look forward to, this like new era of pop but stripped back to acoustic?
Yeah, so I have the record that I've been sitting on since 2019.
Yeah.
It got caught up in COVID, it got caught up in different contracts, and then finally it's breaking ground, and it's gonna see the light of day. So I'm gonna release that in the new year. That's titled In and Out of Love. It's a lot of those songs where I'm finding my wording, around falling in love, falling out of love. And then I hope to follow that up with an acoustic record to tail it up, and yeah, just see what comes. I feel like I'm ready to be a beginner again. So
That's so exciting. That's like 4 to 5 years of sitting on it. 4 to 5 years of what comes next.
yeah,
That must be an incredible feeling to finally have it out in the world.
yeah. I think it's one of those things where like I was talking with a colleague about this recently, and it's too easy to look at those like 4 or 5 years is like, oh, like feel down on your luck and feel sour about it.
Wasted time. Yeah.
Exactly. But like, you know, you mash up a bunch of fruit, you let it age, and then next thing you know, you get like a fine liquor. So like, so I'm looking at it as like, okay, like there's at least there is a possibility of a positive byproduct.
Yeah.
So like, I want to feel every ounce of that I can, because at the end of the day, like, yeah, those songs are a little old, but like they're new to you. They're new to the listener, and it's a part of me I'm still willing to show.
That's such a rich perspective too, to like know what you have and to know, like to not look at it from a negative point of view. Like you're taking something and you're still giving it to a new audience, and that's definitely in and of itself, it's going to create value for you and for them. So that's super exciting. I know we've touched on a lot of things, but what is one piece of advice that you can give to somebody who's fresh in the industry, just starting out, a beginner, so to say? And you've already given us some awesome tips already, but just like something that kind of would be instrumental that you wouldn't have wanted to know when you were first starting out even.
We're in the industry of emotions, right? It's there's a business to it, but it's also very personal, and we have to be personable, and like, let alone being personal with other people, we have to be able to do that with ourselves. Whether that's composing, writing, one of the biggest things you can do to get familiar with these feelings that you're gonna have to write about is let them in. Like if you have a friend knocking on the door and they're crying, you're gonna let that person in. You're gonna sit them down. You're gonna hear them out. So like when you're down in your dumps and you're feeling it, let that person in and like hear them out. Get familiar with it, because you're gonna need to articulate that at some point, and you're gonna help somebody else through that. So don't let too many people pile up at the door, because when you open it, it's going to be a party, and like nobody wants to be, in a clustered head trying to write a focused song.
Yeah.
And
such a good point.
if you can just let those folks in, feel it out, articulate it, write it down, they come back to the door at the right time.
That's perfect. That's just, yeah, I don't have words. You're so right about that. Like you can't write with a clouded head. You need to let emotions come as they may and let them pass as they may. You can't, not holding on to things, not cutting things out is so.
Well, it's like granting yourself the opportunity to be a human.
That's life advice in its own.
Right?
It's not just artist advice. Yeah.
It applies to everybody. It's just let yourself be a human. We fall. It's okay.
Yeah. Great. Yeah. Where can people find you online, Richard?
You can find me on Spotify, Apple Music, Pandora, Tidal, Instagram. I'm not usually on Twitter, so don't go there. Facebook. My handle is just Richard TICHELMAN, and my last name is TICHELMAN. I'm doing this like the Disney Channel.
Love it. Amazing. Well, we can't wait to have you play a song for us. I'm looking forward to stripping it back to the acoustic. And for everyone at home, thanks again for tuning into the Music City Surrey Showcase. We'll see you next time.
Sorry showed up a little too late. Threw I love you right in my face, acting so fake, like you think I'm stupid. We had a thing, but you walked away. Twisted the knife, but now it's okay. You blow up my phone, I know what you're doing. What happened, can't take it back. When you put my heart in a grave, baby. You say you miss it, but I feel different. I don't care if you feel the same. It'll never be the same. Never be the same. You say that you're sad, you tell me you're drunk, you needed space, said that's all it was. You're just so full of gin and excuses, and it's useless. What happened, can't take it back. When you put my heart in a grave, baby, you say you miss it, but I feel different. I don't care if you feel the same. It'll never be the same. Never be the same. Never be the same. Never be the same. You don't get to change your mind once you bury love alive. What happened, can't take it back. When you put my heart in a grave, baby, you say you miss it, but I feel different. I don't care if you feel the same. It'll never be the same. Never be the same. Never be the same. Never be the same. Never be